would like to welcome the audience to the August 22nd, 2017 Parish Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Would you all please stand as Ms. Dickerson says the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity for the Planning and Zoning Board to meet together. Provide us with wisdom to make good choices so that we can hear the needs that are coming before us and make good decisions for the community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Christie, would you please call the roll?
Miss Betty Brown. Miss Latricia Cobb. She's here.
Miss Betty Brown just walked in.
No, Letitia Cobb did.
I'm sorry, Miss. I'm sorry.
Chair Jake Porsche, let's start over.
Here.
Vice Chair Art Little.
Here.
Mr. Randy Armator.
Here.
Miss Betty Brown. Miss Latricia Cobb. Here. Miss Julia Dickerson.
Here.
Miss Sharon Galicia.
Here.
Mr. Kyle Link.
Here.
Mr. Gary Navarre.
Here.
Mr. Kirk Smith.
Here.
Mr. LaSalle Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Christie. This is an 11-member board. It will take a majority of those members present to grant or deny any request heard tonight. The chair will refrain from voting unless that vote might affect the outcome. The meeting will be conducted with me reading the request from the agenda. The planning staff will give a presentation and report their recommendations. If the applicant would like to add to the staff's presentation, or if someone from the audience has comments, please come to the microphone and state your name, address, and the nature of your request. All persons wishing to speak other than the applicants need to fill out a blue Request to Appear form located in the back of this room. The form must be given to a staff member prior to the reading of the agenda item. As required by this board's bylaws, in all cases, the proponents will be limited to 10 minutes. Opponents will be granted 10 minutes as well, with each speaker allowed no more than 3 minutes. I will recommend that a spokesperson be selected if there's a large group wanting to speak on the same agenda item. If 4 or more speaker request forms are submitted, the time allowed for individual speakers will be limited based upon the number of forms submitted. The chair has the right to limit speakers who present redundant information or personal attacks. In unique situations, the chair may extend or the board may vote to extend the time allotted for speakers. After discussion, the board will vote on each request. I will announce the decision of the board after the vote. The zoning exceptions, variances, and preliminary subdivision requests are final tonight. The rezoning cases will go before the police jury for final action on August 24th, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. This meeting is being filmed by the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel and can be viewed on Wednesday and Thursday following the meeting. For additional run dates, check the website at www.cppj.net. Channel 5 in Lake Charles, Sulphur, Moss Bluff, Westlake, Benton, DeQuincy, and Gillis. Channel 99 in Carlos and Grand Lake. At this time, I would ask you to please silence or turn off all electronic devices or any noisemakers. We will move to item 5. Take appropriate action to approve the minutes of the June 20th, 2017 and July 11th, 2017 Planning and Zoning meetings. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Navarre.
Second.
And a second by Ms. Cobb. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. At this time, I will call item 15 out of order. Item 15 is take appropriate action on case RZ 617-14, a request by Calcasieu Parish Division of Planning and Development to rezone certain tracts of land from agricultural, mixed residential, multifamily residential, light commercial, general commercial, central business commercial, light industrial, and heavy industrial to a residential, commercial, or industrial classification to reflect the character of the area off East Burton Street, Old Spanish Trail, and Prater Road in Ward 4. I will entertain a motion to postpone indefinitely.
So moved.
I have a motion to postpone by Ms. Cobb and a second by Mr. Link. At this time, I will like to recognize our elected official, Hal McMillan, and call him to speak.
Thank you, Chairman Borshab. Hal McMillan, Calcasieu Parish Police Jury District 14, 1423 North Beach Street, Westlake, Louisiana. I want to thank you for moving us first to the front of the agenda so we could get the fine people of Mossville back to their homes.
Sure.
The postponing this indefinite is something that I as an elected official and we as our staff, we had a public meeting with the people of Mossville, and they said they are not interested in this study, this reclassification study. They don't want to see it done. They don't want to have any part of it, and they ask us to kill it. And by postponing this indefinitely, it will postpone it indefinitely. And I'm going to ask my jurors this Thursday night to do the exact same thing what you're doing here tonight. I heard the people of Mossville loud and clear. They're not interested in having a reclassification studied and this property reclassified. So I ask this board to vote unanimously to support me on this issue. As you know, I don't usually come up here and speak on zoning issues. I let y'all do your recommendations and bring them to us. But this is very, very important to the people of Mossville, my constituents, and me as their elected official, that you do this unanimously and send a message to the police jury for Thursday night so we can postpone this thing indefinitely. There won't be a reclassification study. It'll be shelved and put away. And that's what I'm asking tonight. Thank you for your consideration.
Any questions for Mr. McMillan? Thank you, sir. Please no applause from the audience. We do have one blue card regarding this item, a Stafford, is it Frank? Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Hi, my name is Stafford Frank. My address is 3314 Auburn Hollow Lane in Katy, Texas, and I'm speaking in regards to 3924 Old Spanish Trail. In regards to my, I have 7 other siblings. So I just heard that you postponed everything indefinitely, so that's good. I was glad to hear that. But I did have questions about how will that affect taxes if this was rezoned? Would the tax structure that we're currently paying increase? I also had questions about exactly what benefits would the residents of Mossville receive from this. I don't mean just some general type response.
Okay.
I'd like to have specifics.
I'll turn that question to the staff if y'all would want to comment on those questions. If not,
Well, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, right now, there's only a motion to postpone indefinitely before the board.
right.
Those questions are great questions that can be answered through staff at a later date, but this is probably not the proper form to do that.
Okay.
So probably.
So
for those-
you're basically asking a hypothetical question because that motion is not on the floor. We're only going to discuss postponing. If you have something to say regarding postponing indefinitely, then you can.
No, that's why my name was on that blue
Yes.
card.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any questions or comments from the staff? From the board? All right, a yes will be voting to postpone indefinitely, and a no would be opposite of that. So all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 15 is postponed indefinitely. At this time, we'll take a brief recess if you guys would like to clear the room as quickly as possible. Please save all conversations for outside the room so we can continue with our normal business. There will be no questions from the audience. Thank you.
I'm just asking, I may be the only one in here that is not hearing clearly to what is being said. And if your microphones could be increased where, I hope it's not only me, but I would love to understand what is really being said and done in here. I'm a part of this, but I can't understand a lot of what is being said That's why I'm asking if the voice can be heard better over the speaker, because I'm not understanding.
That is something that we will give to the technical department as a recommendation, and I'll let the staff deal with that directly. But we have a brief recess, and if y'all could clear the room, if you choose to clear the room regarding this item. Thank you. Moving to item 6, take appropriate action on case SUB-717-79, a request by J&P Land Development, LLC, for preliminary subdivision approval to allow a single-family residential subdivision, 39 lots in Blue Woods Estates, Phase 1, sorry about that, in the 2000 block of Charlesboro Road and the 2500 block of Pujo Road in the 2000 block of Corbello Road in Ward 8. I will entertain a motion for approval with the stipulations.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb and a second by Ms. Galicia. Ms. Wallace.
This property is located in the Clow area and encompasses over 230 acres of agricultural zone land. Under this request, the petitioner is planning to develop the first phase of a subdivision, and this phase consists of 39 lots divided among 3 subdivision blocks. The smallest lot is just over 2.5 acres, while the largest is nearly 7 acres. The lots will be served by public water and individual sewer systems. Because the development is consistent with the rural character of the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following stipulations: that the development is subject to an application for and/or compliance with an LPDES stormwater discharge permit, which may be required through DEQ and the Calcasieu Parish Division of Planning and Development, that prior to submittal of engineering plans, the preliminary plat, and the drainage impact analysis or appropriate waiver must be approved by the Division of Engineering, and that a letter of no objection from the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development is required with submittal of engineering plans.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's presentation? Not required, but if you would like to speak on your behalf, you may come to the podium. Okay. We do not have any blue cards. Any questions or comments by the board? Do we have any written opposition to this item?
No, sir.
Okay.
What is the single family?
Sir, you would have to have filled out a blue card and a request to appear. Any other questions or comments by the board? Seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 6 passes. Item 7, take appropriate action on case SUB 617-74, a request by Baggett Investors for preliminary subdivision approval to allow a single-family residential subdivision, 95 lots in Bonot Farm subdivision in the 6500 block of Elliott Road in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval with the stipulations.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dickerson and a second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace.
This property is located in South Lake Charles and consists of 28 acres of land zone agricultural and single-family residential. The petitioner is requesting approval for a 95-lot subdivision. The smallest lot is planned to be 7,200 square feet, and the largest is over 1/3 of an acre. The development will be connected to water via the Waterworks District and municipal sewer from the city of Lake Charles. To move forward with the current plans, the petitioner is also requesting a rezoning of the agricultural zone land and a variance for the 26 lots proposed to have less than the required 7,500 square feet. Because the development is within the urban service area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following stipulations: that the development is subject to an application for and/or compliance with an LPDES stormwater discharge permit, which may be required, that prior to submittal of engineering plans, the preliminary plat, and the drainage impact analysis or appropriate waiver must be approved by the Division of Engineering, and that lots 1 and 95 have no direct access to Elliott Road.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's presentation? If so, okay. Any questions or comments by the board? We have no blue cards. Any written opposition?
No, sir.
Okay. Seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 7 passes. Moving to item 8, take appropriate action on case RZ 20-15, a request by Baggett Investors LLC to rezone from agricultural to single-family residential to allow single-family residential development, 95 lots in Bonot Farm subdivision in the 6500 block of Elliott Road in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Navarre and a second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace.
This is the same property as in the previous request. Approximately 4 acres of the total 28-acre development is zoned agricultural. The petitioner would like to rezone this land to single-family residential in order to accommodate the smaller lot sizes. Because the development is in the urban service area, the staff recommends that the request be granted.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant have anything to add to this? Okay. Any questions or comments by the board? We do not have any blue cards in opposition. So seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 8 passes. Item 9, take appropriate action on case VAR-617-9, a request by Baggett Investors LLC for a variance to decrease the lot size requirement. Requires 7,500 square feet. They are requesting 7,200 square feet in the 6500 block of Elliott Road in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Ms. Cobb. Second by Mr. Link. Ms. Wallace.
This is the same property as in the 2 previous requests. Under this request, the petitioner is requesting a lot size variance for 26 lots of the 95-lot development. These lots are located along the northern boundary of the development. And because it is in the urban service area, the staff recommends that the request be granted.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Applicant have anything to add? All right. Any questions or comments by the board? Do not have any blue cards in opposition. So seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 9 passes. Item 10, take appropriate action on VAR-717-12, a request by UltraSafe Holdings LLC to decrease the required number of parking spaces. Required 47 spaces, they are requesting 7 spaces at 5607 Big Lake Road in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb.
Second.
Second by Ms. Dickerson. Mr. Wallace.
This property is located in South Lake Charles and encompasses 9.5 acres of central business commercial land. The land was rezoned to commercial in a 2016 zoning request to allow many warehouses and outdoor storage. Also approved in 2016 was a variance to decrease the rear setback from 15 feet to 10 feet. The current request before you tonight is to vary the designated parking spaces and instead allow the customers to utilize the paved areas outside the unit entrance for parking. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends that the request be granted.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff's presentation? Okay. Any questions or comments by the board? Do not have any blue cards in opposition. Or is there any written opposition to this item, Ms. Wallace?
No, sir.
Okay. Seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 10 passes. Item 11, take appropriate action on EX-617-4, a request by Stephen Bellon for an exception to allow residential development, a manufactured home, at 425 Emill Road in Ward 1. I will entertain a motion for approval with the stipulations. Motion by Coach and a second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace.
This property is located in the Moss Bluff area and encompasses nearly 2 acres of single-family residential zone land. Mrs. Bellon has a health condition that requires assistance. She would like to locate a new 24 by 40 manufactured home behind her current house with the manufactured home to serve as her mother's residence. If the request is approved, the petitioners are also seeking a variance on the public road frontage requirement, which will be heard in the next agenda item. And because a manufactured home is not inconsistent with the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following stipulations: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the division, provided the director may authorize adjustments to site plans in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development, and that the manufactured home be skirted prior to the utilities being connected.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant have anything to add to the staff? May state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Leslie Bellon, 425 Mill Road. I am the homeowner. We are requesting this manufactured home be placed in our yard simply because I was diagnosed with cancer recently and I have a small child. I am no longer able to work. My husband is having to work because of my condition. My mother, who is an oncology nurse, will be moving there to help with my care and also help with my 7-year-old son, getting him back and forth to school on days that I can't. We do have several mobile homes, as you could see in the area. Most of them are rented out, so we don't know our neighbors. This one will not be rented to anyone. It will be my own family member. It will not be visible from the road. We're asking to put a very small one in the back of our house. I actually own 2 pieces of property there, which my home sits on both of those pieces of property, so we have a large bit. 1.76 acres is what we own. So I know some of the residents are concerned about the mobile homes, and because they are rented, you know, we don't know who's in them. The one across the street from me the police have been called several times to that residence. So I know that's a concern, but as I said, this will be a personal family member and it will never be rented to anyone. So, you know, if anything, it would just be moved off our lot once we're finished with all of my health issues and things. But anyway, that's why we were asking for it. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments by the board? We do not have any blue cards in opposition. Do we have any written opposition?
No, sir.
Okay. Seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 11 passes. Item 12, take appropriate action on VAR-617-10, a request by Stephen Bellon for a variance to allow a dwelling with less than required public road frontage. Requires 200 feet. They are requesting 181 feet at 425 Emil Road in Ward 1. I will obtain a motion for approval.
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Cobb and a second by Mr. Link. Ms. Wallace.
This is the same property considered in the previous agenda item. Because minimal impacts are to be expected, the staff recommends that the request be granted.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Is there, would you like to say anything else? You're not required. It's good. Sure. Any questions or comments by the board? Okay, seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12 passes. Item 13, take appropriate action on RZ-617-16, a request by Alvin Stevens to rezone from light commercial to multifamily residential to allow residential development, 3 duplexes for 6 units total at 1193 North Perkins Ferry Road in Ward 1. I will entertain a motion for approval with the stipulations.
So moved.
I've got a motion by Coach Williams and a second by Ms. Cobb. Ms. Wallace.
This property is located in Moss Bluff and encompasses .7 acres of land. The petitioners would like to construct 3 duplexes at this location. The duplexes will be 2-story. Each unit will be nearly 1,200 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. If the rezoning is approved, a variance will be needed to allow 6 units, and the variance will be considered in the next agenda item. Because the development is consistent with the character of the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted with the following stipulations: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director may authorize adjustments to site plans, that the development adhere to stormwater best management practices, that a drainage impact analysis will be required unless appropriate waiver is granted by the Division of Engineering, that all exterior lighting must be oriented inward toward the development to minimize intrusion onto surrounding properties, that screening must be provided in accordance with Section 26-50 of the Parish Code of Ordinances, and that the development meets the Corridor Overlay District standards contained in Chapter 26, Article 6, Division 5 of the Parish Code of Ordinances.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant have anything to add? Staff? All right. Any questions or comments by the board? We do not have any blue cards in opposition. Do we have any written opposition?
No, sir.
Okay. Seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 13 passes. Item 14, take appropriate action on VAR-617-11, a request by Alvin Stevens for a variance to increase density requirement allows 5 units, and requesting 6 units at 1193 North Perkins Ferry Road in Ward 1. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb, a second by Mr. Link. Ms. Wallace.
This is the same property considered in the previous agenda item. Because a similar variance was granted in the area, the staff recommends that the request be granted.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Does the applicant like, okay. Any questions or comments by the board? Seeing no opposition, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 14 passes. Moving to item 16, advise that the police jury took the following action on July 13, 2017 with reference to the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board from the July 11, 2017 meeting. The applicant, AMAC at Toomey Road, Planning and Zoning Board passed and the police jury upheld. Applicant Clyde at Highway 27 South, Planning and Zoning Board passed and the police jury deferred. Applicant, the corridor amendments, Planning and Zoning Board passed and the police jury will vote on this item on August 24th. I would like to advise that the next regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning meeting will be held Tuesday, September 19th, 2017 in the police jury meeting room. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb and a second by Ms. Galicia. We are adjourned.